Patricia McKillip's The Forgotten Beast of Eld is a kind of cult classic, a beloved novel passed down from generation to generation. Never the hugest seller, never the biggest seller, but a steady favorite over many years. McKillip, as you can see, who is a younger writer than Le Guin, has been to Le Guin's school a little bit. The prose is extremely careful, beautifully stylish without being ornate. It is the simple, elegant, deceptively simple style, and like Le Guin, the emphasis on the apparently simple words, or rather, the words with lots of resonances, the words that bring lots of associations with them, the simplest sounding words with the most shades of meaning. Unlike Le Guin, McKillip is interested in European and especially kind of Celtic and British stories that she's bringing here. If if Le Guin is immersed in world mythology and particularly in Native American legends and mythologies, McKillip is going to bring in a lot of kind of Celtic and British and Arthurian stories, though she's not going to simply retell those stories. What she's going to do, time and again, is take familiar memes, familiar archetypes, as Jung would say, from those stories, and put them in play in new ways. So here in the Forgotten Beasts of Eld, we have the seventh son of a seventh son who is uncannily, abnormally wise to the world of witchcraft and uncanny, who has sense, who can sense and understand things that his six warlike brothers really can't, though he's perfectly warlike himself. We work with the old type story, the old story type of the king whose wife betrays him, has an adulterous affair with a younger, handsome, perhaps more age appropriate, heroic warrior, and the kind of bloodshed that ensues. It's the Arthur Guinevere Lancelot triangle. It's the Tristram Isolde at King Mark triangle. It's something you see in a number of ancient Irish and Welsh stories over and over again. But that is not the core of this story. That most of that story happens beforehand. The kind of tragic love of our hero of Sybil's aunt has is something in the past, and everyone is living in the aftermath of this story. This is a new story connected to a new version of a familiar old and traditional story. Sybil's name is taken from mythology and worked just a little bit. Tamlorn's name is taken from the fairy tale Tamlin and changed just a little bit. There's that word Lorn in there, as in like forlorn. Is Tamlin's story anything like Tamlin's? It is absolutely not. And yet, like that echo is put in play. This also becomes very, very clearly a novel about consent and coercion, that the magic itself becomes increasingly revealed as problematic, or some readers go past quickly the problematic parts and the kind of genealogy that leads up to Sybil. They skip over the parts that are troubling, the parts about women who are forced into marriages they did not want through, in this case, a magical rather than a military power. And the question of how how morally how morally acceptable, what are the moral limits and downsides of Sybil's own powers get mount throughout the novel stronger and stronger. It's Corin who tells her, "Hey, I will come if you call me," and she says, "Well, I can make you come." And he's like, "Someday you're gonna want somebody who'll come without being made." Certainly, the novel hinges on an attempt to coerce, including sexually coerce, Sybil herself. If you try the middle chapter trick, this has 12 chapters. Look at the end of chapter 6 and see what happens there. Look at the middle page in my edition, it's the bottom of page 114, 115. That is the marriage, another crucial decision here. I didn't talk much about her background. McKillop made a living as a fantasy writer in the kind of new genre world that was emerging in the 70s. This book was initially marketed as a young adult book. McKillop is someone, an American from the Pacific Coast who goes to college, goes to San Jose State, gets an MA there, and goes on to have a sufficient career to make a sufficient living from her writing over many years. Did she get rich? I didn't say that. Um, did she have to wander the streets without shoes? She did not. She's most famous for the trilogy of novels that come after this, the so-called Riddle Master trilogy. But here we have we have a woman who has all the magic, and she's thinking about what to do with it, and she starts to think about why maybe she should do less with it.